In this lesson, you will be introduced to other iteration statements, the while and do while loops in C#. The main idea is that those loops execute some block of code while the test expression evaluates to true. About how exactly the loops work and the difference between them, you will learn now in this lesson. So let's continue. First is checked if the expression is true or not, and then by the return value, the block of code will be executed if true, and else the block of code won't be executed. But the important is that first is check the test expression, and the code is executed right after that. If here the returned value of the test expression is true, then we go inside the curly braces and the body of the loop and execute the code here. Else, if this is false and not true, we go out of the while loop and continue with the other code that we have, if we have. And about the syntax, we have the while keyword, then in brackets the test expression, which is Boolean test expression, which means that as value we expect true or false, and if it's true we go inside those curly braces like I said, and here is the body of our loop, which will be executed. So that's about the syntax and how the while loop works. So now let's continue with the do while loop. The do while makes the same with the difference that instead of executing after checking the expression, here first of all the block of code inside the do keyword will be executed, and then it will be checked the Boolean test expression. If we have true, then we continue with execution of the code, or if we have false, then we continue with the code below the do while loop if there is some other code. So first of all, we execute the body here of the while loop, and after that we check the expression if it's true or false. If here it's true, then we continue executing the code here, and if here we have some expression that returns false, after the returned false value, we go outside of the do while loop and continue with the other code if there is some other code. About the syntax, we have the do keyword, then curly braces, and here the body of the while loop, and after the closing curly braces we have the while keyword, and then in the brackets inside them the test expression again. In the example we have true, and always we will go inside those curly braces and execute the code. But if we have here some other expression that let's say returns false, then we will not continue executing the code here. And that was about the syntax and how the do while loop works. So now let's continue and with code example and again explanation if it's needed. So let's continue to Visual Studio. Now I will show you the work of the while and the do while loop by a simple example. So first of all, I'm gonna declare a new variable of type int which will be number, and that number, let's say, it will be 10. Then the while loop, the while keyword, and inside the while brackets. Here I'm gonna also declare another variable of type int, which should be current number. And the first will be 1. So while the current number is less or equal to the number, I'm gonna print the current number on a new line. And I'm gonna increase, of course, the current number by this. At the end, after the while loop, I'll have something like a message which will tell us that it's ready, the while loop of looping. So ready. And now let's start this simple program and see what we will have on the console. So by clicking here, I'm gonna run the program. So like you see, we have the numbers from 1 to 10 printed on the console, and after the 10, which is the last number, we have the message ready. So while the current number was less or equal to the number which was 10, it was continuing executing the code inside the while loop, and after that it goes to the, and after the last execution it go to this line and just continue with the other code, which is the console write line ready. So our example works. And now if I change the Boolean test expression to evaluates to false already in the beginning, now in the console, if I again run the program, I will have only the message ready. So now I will show you that. But before, I will close this. And let's start it again. Because the current number, it can be never bigger than 10. I mean, 1 is less than 10, so that will return false, and we will continue with the other code which is outside of the loop's body, and just continue with the console write line, which is the only code that we have in this example after the while loop. like I said, we have only ready on the console. So why we have only ready here? It is because the current number, again will explain, the current number, which is 1, is less than 10, and our Boolean text expression inside those brackets evaluates to false. So that is why we don't continue with executing the code inside the curly braces of the loop, and we go outside of the loop and continue with the other code, which in this example is only this line, which prints on the console ready, and we have ready. And that is why we only have on the console ready. In the previous example, when the sign here was the opposite, in this way, we first of all have the 1, which is less than 10, and it's correct. Then we continue with executing the code inside the curly braces of the while. So we first of all printed 1, then we increase the current number with 1, so now we have 2. Again we check if 2 is less than 10, and because it is, we print 2 in the next line on the console. After that, we again increase this number with 1. We have 3, and 3 is less than 5. It returns true, and so on to the moment we have the current number, which is 11. And 11, it's not smaller, and also it's not equal to 10, so that is why we don't go inside the curly braces and we don't print 11. We just go outside of the loop and we continue with the other code that we have, and we only print the ready. So that was about the while loop, and now let's continue with the do while loop, and the same example with the do while loop. So again, I declare the variable of type int, which should be number, and our number will be 10. Then we have the current number, which is 1, and the do while, the do keyword, then the curly braces, and here the while with the brackets and the test expression inside it, which will be while the current number is less or equal to the number I want to print the current number, and then increase it by 1 each time. After the do while, we will have the console readline method, which will print on the console ready. So now what I expect to again have the 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on to 10 inclusive, but then when we change this sign, I think that not only the ready will be displayed on the console. Also, before that, we will have one, because first of all, with the do while, I guess you understand and learn that we first of all execute the code and then start checking the test expression, and when it's true, we continue executing the code inside the do keyword curly braces lines, and if it's false, we stop executing that what is inside those curly braces and continue with the other code that we have, if we have, and in our case we have the this line. But first of all, let's see what we will have on the console with this example. So I'm gonna run the program. And we have the numbers from 1 to 10 and then the ready command that I want to print on the console. This is the same as the while loop. We again get the same output. But now I'm gonna close this and change this sign to the opposite one. Now when the test expression is false and the current number is not bigger than the number, first of all, we will have the one on the console, because we first of all execute the code and then check the expression, and that is the difference that we will see now. And of course, after the one, we will have the ready. So now I will start again the program, and we will see the difference with the while loop. And like I said, we have one. So first of all, we go inside those curly braces, and even the test expression it's false, we execute one time the code here, and after that we check this expression, and by its results we either continue executing here, or we go outside of the while loop and continue with the other code, and we have this line in our example. So that was in the explanation for the do while loop, and I think you see and understand the difference between the while and the do while loop. So that was for this lesson.